It was the last night of March 2006, and spring break had just begun at Ohio State University. Brian Shaffer, a 27-year-old medical student, was eager to unwind. He had been working relentlessly through school and had recently faced a personal tragedy, the passing of his mother from cancer just weeks earlier. Friends and family described him as charming, funny, and intelligent, with dreams of marrying his longtime girlfriend and becoming a doctor. That Friday night, he was ready to forget his stress, if only for a while. He started the evening with dinner alongside his father, Randy Shaffer. The two shared stories and laughter. Later, Brian met up with his close friend, Clint Florence, for drinks. Their night began at the Ugly Tuna Saloona, a lively bar on the second floor of a shopping complex near the OSU campus. They bounced between a few bars, enjoying shots and beers, before eventually returning to the Ugly Tuna around 1:15 a.m. Surveillance footage from the bar shows Brian standing outside with Clint and another friend, then walking into the bar's entrance through a well-lit escalator hallway. About 40 minutes later, he's captured on camera again near the front of the bar, talking casually with two women. At 1:55 a.m., Brian waves goodbye to them and walks back toward the bar's interior. That brief wave is the last confirmed sighting of Brian Shaffer. The bar had only two entrances, the front door monitored by surveillance cameras and a back exit used mainly by staff, which led to a locked construction site full of debris. Strangely, security footage never showed Brian leaving the bar, not through the front and not from the rear. No one saw him exit. It was as if he simply vanished into thin air. When the bar closed and the crowd thinned, Clint and the others assumed Brian had left on his own. They called him a few times but got no response. His girlfriend, Alexis, also tried to reach him. They had plans to fly to Miami that Monday for vacation, and she was excited. She believed he might propose on that trip. But as the hours passed with no response, concern grew. By Sunday, when he still hadn't shown up, his family reported him missing. Police began investigating immediately. They reviewed the surveillance footage repeatedly. Every person who entered or exited the bar that night was accounted for except Brian. Investigators even considered whether he could have disguised himself to leave unnoticed. But Brian was over 6 feet tall, with a noticeable build and appearance. A change of clothes wouldn't have made him invisible. They also examined the service exit, but it was treacherous, leading into a construction zone filled with rubble, steel, and fencing. Any fall or accident in that area likely would have left evidence or been heard by nearby staff or patrons, yet nothing was found. Detectives searched local hospitals, homeless shelters, and medical centers. Brian's car was still parked near his apartment. His bank accounts and credit cards had not been touched. His cell phone remained inactive. His social media accounts showed no new activity. He hadn't accessed his apartment. Flyers were distributed across the city. Hundreds of volunteers joined the search. Cadaver dogs combed nearby rivers and sewers. No clues surfaced. Naturally, suspicion turned to those closest to Brian. His friend Clint was scrutinized heavily because he was the last to see Brian, but Clint lawyered up early and refused to take a polygraph test or cooperate further. He has never been formally charged and maintains his innocence. Others, including the women seen with Brian that night, passed lie detector tests. Brian's girlfriend, Alexis, and his family were devastated. She left dozens of voicemails, some pleading, others breaking into sobs, always hoping he might pick up. Over time, strange theories emerged. Some believed Brian had decided to disappear voluntarily, that he was overwhelmed by grief, medical school, or pressure to marry. Others speculated that he may have taken his own life or had been the victim of a spontaneous, random act of violence, though there was no sign of a struggle, blood, or body. One theory even suggested that he was murdered and his body hidden inside the bar during the confusion, then removed later. But no physical evidence ever supported that idea. Another, darker theory involved a group dubbed the Smiley Face Killers, an alleged network of individuals responsible for the deaths of young, intelligent men across the Midwest. Many of these men were last seen near water after a night of drinking. Some believe Brian's case fits that pattern. But despite the eerie similarities, no solid links have ever been proven between his disappearance and this theory. Years passed, and the case grew cold. In 2008, tragedy struck the Shaffer family again. Brian's father, Randy, was cleaning debris from his yard during a storm when a tree branch fell and killed him. His obituary included a line of hope that someday Brian would return and reunite with his family. Mourners left messages for both father and son, including a chilling one posted anonymously saying simply, "Dad, I love you. Love, Brian." Authorities traced it to a public computer and deemed it a cruel hoax. In 2020, a photo surfaced online showing a man resembling Brian living in Tijuana, Mexico. Internet sleuths debated its authenticity, but law enforcement examined the image and concluded it was not him. Still, to this day, the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System (NamUs) keeps his case active. There is a digitally aged image of what he might look like today in his mid-40s. What makes the Brian Shaffer disappearance especially haunting is how clean it was. A man walks into a bar, in a world filled with cameras, data, and digital footprints, and vanishes. No money withdrawn, no body, no clues, just a complete absence. It's the kind of story that doesn't feel real. And yet it is. Some believe Brian is still out there. Others think he met a tragic fate that night and simply hasn't been found. Maybe someone at that bar knows the truth but has stayed silent. Maybe it was an accident, a robbery gone wrong, or an opportunistic crime. Maybe Brian chose to escape his life and found a way to do so in the middle of chaos. But whatever the truth is, it remains locked inside the shadows of that night, just like Brian. This case reminds us that sometimes, even in the age of technology, people can simply vanish. No resolution, no closure, only questions, and the haunting hope that one day someone, somewhere will finally speak.